Hello. Hold on. 1 second, guys. 1 second, because can you guys hear that fan? Can you hear the fan like wind blowing into the mic? Because I'm noticing like I'm peaking, but like I don't know if that's like because of the wind or like what it is. I think that's a little bit noticeable. Hold on. Dang. Well, it's not that cold. It's not that warm in here, so it should be fine. Alright, the maybe I can just turn it down. Does that pick up? Alright, perfect. Alright. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, to another edition of the Kamen Rider ZEZTZ-udan, the only show that reacts to what is, quite frankly, the greatest show in all of television, streaming media, you name it. It's like the greatest thing ever. It's like the greatest thing ever. It's crazy that we are here this far in, and we have not been disappointed by this show once. It's crazy, ain't it? Like, there hasn't been a hit. Like, even their lowest, like, episodes were still top tier. Like, this has been an amazing story they've been telling from beginning to end, and they understand their audience. Like, my God. Why does this show have to go after what is, quite frankly, the greatest train wreck in all history, Kamen Infinity? Why is this in the same block as that? I ask you. Like, how are we sharing this monumental show in the same block, in the same TV block in Japan with what is, quite frankly, the second coming of Gozuger Kamen Infinity? Why? Why we do that? I ask ye. Like, I need you guys to understand, like, if you didn't see it last Sunday, the last episode of Kamen Infinity was so bad that I pledged that once Kamen wraps, I'm not doing a show for Omega Horn. Because that's how much I was disappointed. That's how bad it got. Like, I went off on a rant during that episode. That, like, Jesus. A whole lot of nothing. A whole lot of nothing. But here, we're about to watch a whole lot of something. You feel me? We are moments away from figuring out what is the fate of Code. After 3's apparent transformation into a stack of papers, we have taken the enemy intelligence. Like, you gotta ask yourself, where do you go from there, you know? What's next? Because obviously the Gore Nightmares are next. But, like, what's the fate of Code? Does it stay around? Does it fade away? And, like, Baku becomes fully independent? Like, what's the play here? For all intents and purposes, Code is, like, the Code's future is in limbo. And right now, knowing that one of the Gore Nightmares is manipulating the lady, like, that's a lot to consider. Because we don't know if the lady is going to make it out of this alive. For all we know, she's about to die. Because she's still trying to fight sleep. But the Gore Nightmare is trying to get her to pass the fuck out. It ain't happened yet. But she's trying. She's trying. And that's the crux of this. Is that right now, future's uncertain. I don't want to say this is like an arc reset point, but definitely it feels like you need to tie up some loose ends before we delve straight into the Gore Nightmares. She is currently being tormented to hell and back. Yeah, I know. But what's the end goal of the torment? Is she trying to get her to just give into her power, to give into sleep? Like, what's the dealio here? You know? What's the absolute end game with tormenting her like this? Because here's the thing. Code, for all intents and purposes, right now, The lady pretty much got what she wanted. Well, you need to figure out what's truly going to happen to Code. But for all intents and purposes, well, to be fair, Zero also played a... Yeah, no, actually, no. But, like, Code as an organization is just dunzo, right? I mean, as far as we know, the agents that were fundamental to the story or were plot points to the story are all dead. 6 was turned into a scorch mark on the wall. 5 was blown to smithereens. 3 turned into a stack of papers. 4 and 7 are off doing their own shit. Zeke is dead. Though, who's to say, considering what's going to happen in this episode, because it does involve his nightmare. 2 is the lady. So, like, unless Agents 8, 9, 10, or whatever them show up, Code's kind of dead. And we have a mass mind control device on the wall. And that's the big thing. That's why I feel like Code Somnia is going to be our end MacGuffin. You know what I mean? Like, we talk about Deus Ex Machinas, right? And, like, Takahashi's, like, signature is a female character that is said Deus Ex Machina, which leads me to believe Coach Somnia is going to empower one of the female characters in the show. Whether it's Nem, Nazca, or Minami, like it remains to be seen. But even then, we could be based off. This could be the one time Takahashi breaks rank and doesn't do that. But it's clear Somnia is going to play a bigger part in this game. But what kind of part it plays still has yet to be seen. Like, there's nothing concrete there. See, Nema is awakening to her power. Yeah, I can see that. Perfect melding of human and nightmare. Like, yeah, I can see that. The problem, though, is, like, we only have so many episodes to do it. Right? And I'd hate for them to pull a Zio. Right? With, like, they did it with Tsukuyomi. You set her up only for her to, like, betray at the last minute, and then literally her whole thing with that suit is she basically does nothing with it. She transforms once and transforms back, just ends up betraying everybody, and then the next time she transforms, she stabs her brother. Like, literally that suit got no play in the main show and it was wasted. So that's why I feel like that needs, like, if we're gonna go that route, it needs to happen sooner rather than later. So anyway, we are 30 seconds away. Let's hop over to our cinema. Let's get right into it. All right. Oh, I need to put the filter on it. Put the filter on it before it begins because we gotta avoid copyright. There we go. Perfect. All right. Here we go, folks. 10 seconds away. Let's sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Kamen Rider ZEZTZ. Here we go. He is. He does. He's good at it. God, that I swear, freaking Nox's super form just. That suit is so clean.
カプセムが消えた。でも私たち元通りになってますよ。
だが装置が破壊されてもなお俺たちは同じ夢を追っていた。
まだ人類の夢が一つに繋がったままってことは、コードソムニアは完全に終わっていないってことですか？
おそらく消えたカプセルの影響が残っているんです。
早くそれを見つけないとまた人類の夢が改ざんされる危険があるぞ。
はい。
あ、
ゼロ。
消えたカプセルの件、組織側は関与していないようだ。あのカプセルこそがコードソムニアの力の根源だ。バグ、セキュリティシークレットウェポン。
セキュリティえ？
あ、失礼。今現実だったな。あ、携帯秘密兵器コードソムニアのカプセルを確保するんだ。
わかった。
How do you secure?
Secret weapon.
Good luck. Oh, beauty. Beauty. So, this episode, I feel like this episode of the next one is going to tie up a couple of loose ends, I think. Like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not seeing that? What? There's another message there, but I don't see it. Ew. Super weird. Anyway, so the way I see it, it calls. Hey, Karis, welcome in, welcome in. Oh, somebody followed. Hold on. Let me thank you properly. Give me 1 second. Was that on YouTube or on Twitch? That was on YouTube. Dang, I need to get notifications set up for YouTube because right now I only have Tangia alerts, and that's for Twitch. So I don't really have those set up well. Zero reviewed all 3 papers. Yeah, all 3 papers. Apparently. Or he came across it and let him know. And then, like, he's still looking through the confessions. Those are his confessions. Yeah, so ultimately, like, we are amidst something big here, man. So these next 2 episodes, I think, ties up the last few things and lead us into the gore nightmares. Because you know they got to do a 2-parter. You know. Case 39. Judge.
どうもお世話になりました。
Tanimori Penitentiary. Man served his debt to society.
兄貴、お勤めご苦労さんです。これで泥棒家業再開だな。
いや、俺はもう足洗うわ。
何言ってんだよ、兄貴。それでも伝説のコソ泥兄弟か。一度は車を盗みてって夢諦めんのかよ。
お前も気づいてんだろ。俺たちにそんな才能がないって。
Bumbling criminals.
盗んだ数は誰にも負けねえ。ほら、伝説なの。
Wow, this is super small time.
もういいんだって。
兄貴。
Whoa!
どうした？
Chains!
なんだその手は。
できるよ俺たちなら。お前、いいんでちょっと待ってよお前。
ブラックケースが発生した。市民を不安にさせないためにも早急に対応するんだ。
ということは
本日付で公安部開示課を復活させる。
PSP's back, baby!
藤井さんも一緒に
You dick! Whoa! Triangle armbar!
忘れたわけじゃないぞ。
The fucking triangle armbar!
貸し借りなしだ。
Nice! They're back in action! We love to see it!
お疲れ様です。
おい、どういう状況だ？
強盗です。
強盗？
車が盗まれて持ち主が重傷です。
ブラックケースじゃないのか。
あなた方が開示課ですか？
はい。
ああ、
実は犯行に使用されたと思われる銃弾なんですが。
What the heck?
そんな銃弾見たことありませんよ。
ナイトメアの仕業だ。
俺たちは泥棒だぞ。なんで車の持ち主撃ったんだよ。
車盗むためだろうが。
伝説のコソ泥兄弟の名怪我しやがってよ。誰も傷つけずにこそこそ盗む。それは俺たちの信条だろうがよ。
Damn.
それでいいのかよ。もっとどでかいもん盗んで伝説の大泥棒になりたくねえのかよ。
Whoa!
金次兄貴やらねえなら俺一人でやってやるよ。
He's turning into a nightmare slowly!
金次
Whoa!
誰かがまたコードソムニアの力を
That's not good. Fucking Zeke!
とびっきりの悪夢を楽しもうぜ。
If you have it, I swear to God.
なんであなたのことなんてこれっぽっちも思い出してないのに。
覚醒したんだよ。俺の中のパニちゃんが。
ブラックケース。
緊急事態です。大至急現場に来てください。
What is wrong with this guy?
やめろ。うるせえ。この車は俺のもんだ。危険です。
藤部さんの姿。
あの腕を見てください。
あれは
以前南さんに似た現象が。
Oh shit.
間違いなくナイトメアの仕業だ。
俺こそが伝説の大泥棒だ。
Oh god! It turned into the original nightmare!
もう怖いものはねえ。
Ooh!
藤見さん。
Wait, what?
消えた。
至急至急現場に救急救命士お願いします。
何が起きてるんだ。ネムちゃん。
バック大変。突然赤い月がおかしくなって、そしたらジークが。
よー、バークちゃん。
Fuck off!
悪夢のパニッシュショー開幕だ。
パニッシュ。
この世のワルがナイトメアの力で罪を犯し
Wait, what?
処刑される。
まさかあんたの仕業か。コードソムニアのカプセルも奪い去ったのもお前かジーク。
ああ。悪夢を楽しむ最高のおもちゃだ。
You ain't done shit, you fuck! You ain't done shit, you fuck!
夢で待ってるぜ。
Wait, what? That felt weird. He just
深層心理に変化が生まれている。
コードソムニアの影響か。あの力はコードが生んだか。破壊すべきだ。
ネム、これ以上どんな悪夢を見ようという。
Okay, what's your deal? My God, can you put on some PJs? Come on, dude.
ネム、ジークは
どうしてこんなことを。
君を苦しませることが狙いかもしれない。
大抵のナイトメア見てきたがそいつは別格だ。
I can't. I'm baffled as what the movements are.
咲かせられるのは母親でも組織でもない。そいつ自身の罪がない。
What is he? We never figured out what own sin means here.
コードソムニアの力を利用して君を苦しめようとしてるんだ。
本当にそうなのかな。
ゼロ、俺を出しに使って目指した未来がこのざまか。
あの人、自分の力をもとに作られたコードソムニアを嫌ってるみたいだった。そんなものを自分で使ったりするのかな。それにゼッツの力を復活させるために力になってくれたし。
Did they tell him about what he did?
ジークが悪いやつじゃないって思ってるのか。
悪い人には違いないんだけど。
I mean,
だけどジークがナイトメアと融合しているせいであの人の心が歪んでしまってるんじゃないかなって。
that's an interesting theory there.
君は優しいな。自分のことを苦しめる相手をそこまで思えて。
許せないよ。許せないし犯した罪は憎むべきだけど、誰にだって心を入れ替えることはできるって、そう信じたい。
I mean, that's not bad to think, but unfortunately, sometimes it's an uphill battle. You know, change is not something that comes easy.
100円です。
兄貴、それでいいのかよ。もっとどでかいもん盗んで伝説の大泥棒になりたくねえのかよ。
Nah, man, you're too old for that shit.
白波金之助だな。
弟の白波銀次について伺いたいことが。
俺は関係ねえよ。あいつとも縁切ったんだよ。
白波銀次が死んだ。
Oh!
厳密に言えばこの世界から消えた。
驚かれたことと思いますが、そうなった原因には彼の深層心理が関わっている可能性があるんです。捜査にご協力願えませんか。
知らねえよ。
おい、あんたの弟は車を盗むために人の命を奪ったんだ。知らないで済まされると思うか。
あんな野郎、バカな真似しやがって。情けねえな、もう。あ？俺は伝説の小外の兄弟だ。警察になびくほど落ちぶれちゃいねえよ。
See, comedy in small doses, man.
本物の伝説になろうぜ。兄弟。
Something feels off, man. Zeke's moving in a weird way. Well, weirder for him.
お出ましか。
カプセンをよこせ。
ビビってんのか。コードソムニャの力。
コードが生んだものは全て報復対象だ。
だったら俺を楽しませてみろよ。
Yeah, he's moving super weird. I'm convinced he doesn't have it. So when does Punish go rogue? Henshin. Come on, man, move it faster. That suit is so clean. God damn. Oh. Oh. Ooh. Oh, that. Oh, right. Hit him! Wait, what? Noxichan. Wait, what?
やっぱりそうか。ネムが言っていたことは正解かもな。小高さん、あいつを正す方法は一つだけだ。
It's just like his over. I just love his overall demeanor. Henshin. Next dream.
Oh, ZEZTZ! 来てくれたのか？悪夢へようこそ。
Nope. Fuck your shit. Kung Fu even. Oh, nice. Jesus, he shot. Oh my god, I wasn't expecting that. Just shot him through the air like a bullet. Extreme struggling? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, right, there we go. That's funny. It's funnier the second time.
ナイトメアと融合している限り、お前は何度でも悪夢に現れる。
Whoa! Blue-eyes white dragon. What? Drago.
自分の罪を償うことも、悔い改めることもない。だから。
Wait, what? Whoa, the return of Orterm! Damn, good to know Orterm wasn't a one and done form. Whoa! Zeke actually looks human!
ハギだほら俺の中に戻ってこいほら
もはや貴様に興味はない罪人は裁きを待つがいい
おいおいおい待ってくれよおいおい
ナイトメアを分離させたか。
これでジークも少しは心を入れ替えるだろうこの年で独り身に戻るなんて退屈すぎんだろジーク正直に白状しろコードサムニアのカプセルを持っているのはお前じゃないんだろうああそうだよ
His eyes were different. I'm not tripping, right? His eyes were different.
知らないがな
紛らわしい真似を。
真犯人は誰だ
So why are we dragging? We're dragging this out just a teensy bit.
とんだ悪夢ね。
悪夢が現実となる日は
Oh, did she finally pass out? Oh shit!
この境界線もじきに消える
She fell asleep. Oh shit! Oh, never mind. Dude, she looks like shit. She's gone through the ringer. Uh-oh. Yeah, she's losing her mind. She's going insane.
私たちの世界を作りましょう来たか
奴は一人で太刀打ちできる相手じゃない。
変身裁きは終わらない
Wait. Was Zero surrounded by there? That's a big question. Big question there. Who was he standing around? Who's standing around him? Big questions there. Big questions there. So, right off the rip, it's an interesting little wrinkle there. It's an interesting little wrinkle that they've gone for severing Punish from the body, and technically he's the first gore nightmare, right? That is kind of interesting, but it kind of like raises a lot of questions because now it's kind of like essentially changing how nightmares work. The lady's mind just broke after the torment. I believe it. I believe it. She's slowly losing her mind. Oh, Paul Pratt, thank you for the follow, by the way. Thank you. But yeah, like he's slowly losing his mind. She's slowly losing her mind. And she's unable to fight back to the point where I feel like she is going to become a writer in the same vein as Zeke did. Because the minute she merges is when she'll be able to get that power. That gauntlet that she has, that thing, that could easily be a henshin device. So there is a good chance that the lady is about to become an evil writer. Not a knight, not anything like that, a writer, but an evil one. Like your Shadow Moons. That's what we're looking at here. Yeah, she's about to go ape shit. I will throw that at you 100%. Who's the true big bad? Here's the thing. The true big bads are the gore nightmares. That's straight up, but the lady is going to become like that thorn in your side. That thorn in your side enemy. That like she's not part of the overall story, but she will insert herself in a way that will derail the story, albeit slightly. You know what I mean? So, because at this point, it's very up in the air still where Code Somnia is. I don't think the Gore Nightmares have it because the Gore Nightmares, their entire presence has been very, very odd. But at the same time, the lady doesn't have it. You think it's acting on its own? I think so too. I feel like considering that now it's a unified conscience, Kosami is now a unified conscience because it's pretty much unifying all of the dreams, so it in of itself exists in that way. Literally only exists in pretty much it's the entire unified dream given form. Right? We did see the moon spinning out of nowhere when stuff started. Yeah, that was a big plot point there. That was showing that things were going down. That's why Nem raised the alarm. Though I wonder what I don't know if we'll ever figure out what Zeke's true motivation was there by claiming that he was the one doing it. Gore Nightmares have been this. No, here's the thing though. Yeah, they've been poking in and out, but now they're like front facing. They're like the front facing players here. They're like our main villain now because before they weren't really like that important. I don't want to say they were unimportant, but the level of importance they had to the story was not big because we were more focused on the whole hostile takeover with Code and all that. So I feel like, I honestly feel like that ultimately, best way I could put it is, like their importance took kind of like a back seat, and now that like pretty much everything with Code has been sorted, I say in quotation marks because it looks like something else is happening at Code in the next episode. So I don't want to outright say that's been resolved, but the absolute bizarreness is that like it's amazing how they're becoming have been a big role there in the forefront. No, that's what I'm saying is that they played roles, but overarching story, they've been kind of like taking a back seat. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just more like the story is done really well with obfuscating their importance, right? The best way I can put it is that Code is also not really needed now since the police are starting to do their job now. That wasn't the point of Code. Like Code was not doing things because the police weren't acting. That wasn't the whole thing. That's not what that's about. Code is an organization that has existed since time immemorial, right? Because literally it says that it's existed for a while. It doesn't say when it started, but if you were to take that one episode that started with the really bad CGI at face value, the veil is gone and people are doing their job. And not to mention, no one's making an effort to hide that the nightmares are there. Those police officers that were alongside the PSB and Baku there at the scene, they saw what was happening. They saw what happened. Now, this is no longer a funny joke. This is no longer a fucking, hee-hoo-ha-ha, this guy's delirious thing, and everyone laugh at Fujimi-san. No. There is evidence now. There is evidence. But, yeah, Code's job is, but here's the thing. The police don't have the same type of technology that Code do. Complete broken masquerade scenario? Yeah, I would say so. The mask is off, but the problem is, how does the police even respond to that? Because the PSB is just a regular department at the end of the day. Like, at the end of the day, like, their whole thing is like... Their whole thing is like they were investigating it, but now these monsters are showing up in the real world And they have to. That's why they still have to rely on code. They themselves don't have the tech to fight this, right? Unless they introduce a G3 level, a G3 type Kamen Rider in the next several episodes, PSP ain't got nothing to fight this shit. This is beyond them, right? The police just keeping people safe. Exactly. I mean, yeah, that's all they can do. They're not fighting this thing. They ain't fighting this thing at all. So ultimately, it's just kind of like, what are we doing at this point? You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be the reason no civvies are there. Yeah, definitely evacuate the area, craze gunmen. Yeah, no, I get you. But, like, again, like, that's all they're going to be able to do. So, it's just kind of... So, it's kind of, like, wild to think that the PSB will be able to stop anything, but at least now there's, like, you can't hide this shit anymore. Like, the nightmares are not even going to hide this. Unless we look code for invokers. Maybe, but the question is, do you think code continues to maintain the status quo? That's the big question. Do you think Zero would be willing to outfit Nazca and Fujimi with freaking belts, with evoker belts? I don't know. And not to mention, I wouldn't put Fujimi as much of a fighter. Nagumo definitely going to kick some ass. But, like, the whole thing is just like, it's very unlikely. It's very unlikely. People are aware now, and they'll be able to, like, take precautions, but they're not going to be able to fight it. That's still Code's responsibility. But the biggest thing we got to look out here is Zeeg, for all intensive purposes, is done. This is the... I don't want to say this is the last time we're going to see Zeeg, but this may quite possibly be the last time we see Kamen Rider Dawn. Because it's... I would assume that the only way... Well, actually, no, I could be wrong. No, because... I don't... I was under the impression that, like, the Nightmare helped him henshin, but no, I think he... Yeah. But the thing is, though, is that he seems defeated. It doesn't feel like Zeeg is going to be a big-time player anytime soon. I think he might still show up. I'm just saying we're not going to see the suit anymore. Yeah. Does Zeeg atone for his sins? I don't know. Because honestly, if he does, I'm going to be depressed because I liked Psycho Zeeg. I liked him. Because he was, like, all crazy and shit. You know? Like, it was like, there was a madness, but there was a method to the madness. And I'm going to miss that. I am genuinely going to miss that. Because, like, Tachibana-san was so good at that. I know that's not the actual actor's name, but I knew him as Tachibana first. So, like, Tachibana-san, like, I didn't know he had that kind of acting chops, like, in him. Right? To be a psychopath. I'd seen him do facial expressions that were just hilarious. Like, if y'all, like, I've mentioned it before, but if y'all know, like, the freaking, in that one particular scene in Blade, where he just looks terrified, but his mouth is wide the fuck open, if y'all remember that. I don't know if anybody remembers that. But, like, it showed that he had some kind of rage, but, like, I don't think the story he was in allowed him to do that. So the fact that he's here now, and he's able to do this stuff, like, it's amazing. He did get a 1,000-year prison sentence before punished. That's the big question, though. Here's the thing, though. He has some level of power, right? Because clearly he was brought on by Code for a reason, right? So it's like he has some sort of dormant power. It's definitely weaker than without now that he doesn't have the panish. Punish Nightmare anymore. Is definitely weaker, but he definitely has something going for him. So I don't know if we're going to still see Kamen Rider Don in the same capacity. I know we're going to see Zeke again, but I don't know if that like changes his suit or what it does. It's definitely something's going to change, right? But the big question now is the Punish Nightmare. Like, it's. I mean, we can all be clear that the Nightmare getting judged, that was the Punish Nightmare. I think we're all comfortable in admitting that, right? No, he's going to be way weaker. Yeah, but we can all agree that like the one who passed judgment on that one old dude when he became a Nightmare, that was. We can all agree that was Punish's doing. So that's what they meant when he went rogue. He just started judging people. Though I will say it's kind of. Yeah, obviously, yeah. So that's interesting because I feel like. I mean, we'll probably see it next episode, but it would be cool. It would be interesting to at least see Punish judge more people, right? Just so we kind of get a general idea of like what his dealio is, because that just feels like something that should be expanded upon. That doesn't feel like something that can be like. That doesn't feel like something that you can just do a one-off and then like. Like you're not gonna do it that one time and then not do it again, right? Because then at that point, like it kind of doesn't. It minimizes the threat level. So if you really want to make like the Punish Nightmare doing shit, if you want to do a whole thing about. If you want to do a whole thing about judging people, he needs to be judging more people before Nox and Seven like come in. Before Nox and Zets come in and wreck his shit. You know what I mean? The 40th episode milestone. Yeah, and I'm sad about it because when we get there, that means there's only 10 episodes left. I hate that this show is going to end. You know what I mean? Like if it was me, I would have like come. If I was corporate, I would be coming down and saying, "Hey Takahashi, we're pushing Mice back another year. We're giving Zets a second season. Go ham." Because like I don't want this story to end, man. It's so good. And let's be real, Mice ain't gonna top this. Let's be fucking real. This has been a consistently good show for 50 episodes. Well, right now we're going on 40, but like it's been so consistently good. I'm like, bro, give me another season. I want to hang out with Baku just a little bit more. Extend our time. I don't. Oh man. You know what bugs me is that like. The Gavan and Gavan and Zets duel thing are just two separate episodes. It's not like they're gonna team up, and that bugs me. Well, not so much anymore because now that I know that Gavan is absolute trash after last week, maybe that's for the best because having something good tied in with something bad won't help it at all. But like, yeah, man, like Gavan. I mean, we're gonna get the Gavan, we're gonna get the Zets Mize crossover. We're getting that. I believe we're getting that for a fact. Like we're you know what we're overdue. Well, we can't do it anymore because Super Sentai is gone. We're overdue for a superhero Tyson. But the problem is, how do you do that now without Super Sentai? You know, like you can't do a superhero Tyson without them. But at the same time, they're no longer relevant. So what do you do? What do you do? You know? Unless they're like to reach over the aisle to Subaraya and do a crossover with Ultraman. Because, like, you're not doing it with Gavan. You're not doing it with Gavan. Gavan is almost done in like 5 weeks. And it is... And I don't want to go on another rant here, but after last week, it was so bad. so bad that at that point, if you did a crossover with ZETZ, ZETZ is doing the heavy lifting. ZETZ is totally doing the heavy lifting. You can't do that. So you can't. I mean, we could do a movie war, I guess. I'll keep it simple for you, Z Alpha. It plods along. It ignores an over. It doesn't. It has an overarching plot that it only calls back every 8 episodes or so. And the last week's episode, literally wasted our time with the most bullshit sequence in the history of Tokusatsu ever. They brought out like a new like super powered mech. And instead of like using its firepower or anything like that, they used it to send a giant meteor back to sender. Set to classical music. And it's like the worst build. It's the worst sequence ever. It's horrible. There'll be V Cinema for ZETZ after this. I mean, every series has to have a V Cinema. You gotta have a V Cinema. And of course, you gotta have Minami showing up in the next girls' night or whatever it is. Though, man. But, I mean, Nox is probably going to get his own. Nox is getting a V Cinema. I feel that in my bones. Yeah, I think Sentai should have continued. Well, unfortunately, Project Red is still ongoing. But that episode of Gavan last week pissed me off so bad that I'm only going to finish Gavan, and then when Omega Horn starts, I'm not doing a ZEZTZ-udan. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, I am ultimately going to just like find something else to do on Sundays. I'm not doing a ZEZTZ-udan for Omega Horn because I have zero faith in it, because that last episode of Gavan like destroyed any hope of Project Red being good. So it would have to take an astronomical effort from Omega Horn or anything to get me to start doing Sunday ZEZTZ-udans again. So I might just bring back Fallout London to take its place, because I haven't finished that, and I think we're overdue because I've been skipping it for several months. So I might bring that back on Sundays. But I watch Rider and Digimon on this day. The summer movie of ZETZ is about Nox. That's fair. But, I mean, one without where Baku doesn't show up, you know? Like, it's just all about him. Or you can possibly do it for Dawn, right? Dawn could be like a pretty cool V Cinema. Plus, it gives Tachibana more shit to do. You know what I mean? Like, you could do so much. Also, can I just state, like, am I the only one that's relieved that Orderm came back? Am I the only one that's, like, so happy that Orderm came back? Also, what do you call the Kamen Rider with a Dan? It's Mitsudan? I don't know. I'll figure it out. Maisudan. The Kamen Rider Maisudan. Because you have to pronounce it. The way they pronounce myth in Japanese is Maisu. Maisu. Because they don't do like the TH sound very much. So they kind of treat it like an S. So it's Maisu. So Maisudan. And it works because ZEZTZ-udan, Maisudan, you know, it works. It works. But I'm just so happy Ordorm came back. Can't wait to have a writer with big mouse ears. I want to believe that's not happening, because my God, if you give me a Kamen Rider with giant mouse ears, I cannot take that seriously. I will not take that seriously at all. There's no way you can make that look cool. It's a joke. I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to call him Mickey every time I see him. Oh, that's so stupid. That is so stupid. But yeah, like we're getting close to the end game now, and I'm just happy Ordarm came back, man. But I want to see more of him, because we did get a Disney belt. Yeah, but you know that like they're not going to approve of the Disney iconography in mice. They're not going to do that. That's not happening. That's not happening. They did that more like a gift to Disney. It wasn't like Disney licensed it. Or maybe they did. I don't fucking know. But overall, I think like we're about to we're about to embark on our ending arcs, right? We're about to wrap this all up. And you know what? Looking at it now again, when the lady held up the gauntlet, I don't. I mean, you can still make the chance that she's going crazy, but I don't think. But there's a possibility she's going crazy in the sense of she's going to fight that particular nightmare. Like the gauntlet was, "I'ma fight you," you know. So either she goes crazy and merges with it, or she's just crazy enough to try to fist fight it. Looking back at it now. Oh, okay, so although the Zero was getting their guns pointed at by other agents. So yeah, he's not out of the woods. He's not out of the woods. Zero's fighting his way out. God damn. Introduce your channel to my friend Dominic. Nice, nice. Actually, I think I had a Dominic follow not too long ago. The next episode is definitely going to be out of the Lady and Nem for sure. We need to get Nem out of the nightmare again. Out of the dream world again. Because right now, and I hate to say it, Nem's been kind of, I don't want to say not relevant, but like her involvement with things, because we're no longer going into people's dreams. This is a unified dream now. So she's like, her whole shtick is kind of not there anymore. So I feel like it's about time. I feel like it's about time we slam the moon back into the ground and bring Nem back. Because, man, Nem needs to come back to the real world. Because right now, someone needs to talk some sense into her mother. And the only person who's going to do that is Nem. Because I don't think Nox is reaching her at this point. Regional Wings of Code. I don't think it's that deep. Like Zero is the leader of Code Japan. None of the agents there struck me as American. None of them struck me as English. Hold on. Let's see if I can jump back. Let's see. So it also looks like Nem has a reaction to the gore nightmares. Like she has some sort of reaction to it. No, these are all Japanese people. So so here's the thing though. I think if I'm looking at it like that, right? If I'm looking at it like that, then that certainly means that either this is another coup or Zero is in fact not the de facto leader of Code. You know? Or they're going to enforce the they're still going to enforce 3's like leadership transfer role. Or possibly they don't understand that they still operating off the information that 3 gave him, and they themselves, like anyone above Zero, has not read the 3 confessional. They haven't read it yet. So they think that he's still a criminal. He was taken off by 3 and he was never reinstated. That would, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, like ultimately, it looks like that like Nem is going to have the gore nightmares are going to affect her in some way, shape, or form. Because she's like clutching her chest and shit. So like it's clear like, okay, yeah, and that guy does get yeah. So yeah, so clearly it's going to affect her in some way, shape, or form. And it's kind of interesting that Fluffball becomes the last boss. So that means that the Gore Nightmares have a leader, right? That fuzzball-looking motherfucker with the weird eyes is going to transform, and that's our big bad. And he's the one leading the Gores, apparently. Because that is Nem's nightmare. If you want to think about it like that, that is Nem's nightmare. And so far, it's becoming apparent now that if you have a special ability, if you have some sort of connection to the dream world, like Nox, like Baku, like Nem, your nightmare is more powerful as a result. The leader has to be the catastrophe nightmare. How does that work, though? That's the question. Because, for all intents and purposes, Baku has the catastrophe nightmare. So then how the fuck does that work? He's in the thing. He's in the little hoverboard thing. He's in the hoverboard capsule. The more dream power you have, the more power your nightmare has. Exactly. Exactly. So, like, ultimately, like, this brings a conundrum here. So that brings up a conundrum, because ultimately, if your dreams cause more powerful nightmares, I mean, killing the nightmare doesn't affect your dream, but doesn't mean that, like, you would have a difficult time countering your nightmare because the nightmare knows you and understands you more than anything. Because the way I see it, the nightmares came out previously, they came out from exteriors, right? Those nightmares were brought in, right? They didn't exist, like, already in these people's subconscious. Or Baku will separate himself from it to destroy it. Yeah, that's the problem, and I feel like that's what the series is, like, ending up towards. But the problem is you can't truly eradicate the nightmares because the nightmares are the power source. So what do you do then? Right? Like, it's the whole, that's the whole, like, conundrum with using powers of evil to do good. You know what I mean? That is very much what it means. It's difficult. It's difficult. They're using one of Nem's baby nightmares to still catastrophe. I don't think so. Because by that logic, then he also loses Orderm. So there's a weird balance there. So your nightmares know you better than you know yourself. Possibly? I think, like, they would know exactly what you know, so they'd be able to counter you, theoretically. I don't want to... If they knew more than you, you would already have become a nightmare in the real world. Because you would already been fucked. So I think they're on par knowledge-wise. But I think, you can counter them. You'd be able to counter them, but unless you somehow know something that nightmare doesn't, you don't have the upper edge. That's the thing. You think Baku will still seal the nightmare? There's a moment when Baku becomes the mind's door in the intro? Is that new? Did I miss that? Oh yeah, that part. Yeah. Here's the thing. I feel like it could be, but I don't think it's how do I put this? I don't think it's going to be like 100% that. Because here's the thing. Like, the whole 3 setup in the intro, that did happen, but not in the way that everyone thought it was, because they thought that 3 was going to go psycho. No, he kept his cool up until the very end when he started freaking out because it was turning into paper. Right? So that whole sequence where he, like, starts getting, like, the freaky face, that didn't happen. So it still happened, but not in that specific way. So I feel like I don't think Baku's going to become a door. That's not happening, but I think Baku will have... I mean, he kind of already does with Extreme. He has the power to open doors. He can do that now. So I think it's going to be pretty much a... It's going to be pretty much a... That's what's going to be, like... The question, though, is, and I think this is something we need to consider, do the nightmares have mind doors of their own? You hope the Gore have some counter to Extreme. You can't. They can't. You know why? This is the final form. Extreme is the series MacGuffin. It's the OP form, so you can't have a counter for that. You can fight it. The Gore Nightmares can fight it, but they won't ultimately stop it. Because then at that point, if they can counter fully Extreme, at that point, you've invalidated the MacGuffin. You know? Because if you can fully stop Extreme in its tracks, you've cheapened the MacGuffin, and it's no longer like a power-up, so you got to figure out how to give Baku something even more powerful. And we don't have enough time to do that. Unless they decide to say that that Code Somnia is, in fact, the final power-up, which I'm not sure they're going to do. Actually, you know what? I just realized something. When Baku made the alliance with Catastrophe, that happened in the Premonition. So that begs the question, though, is Catastrophe still around? Because that happened in a premonition, not in the actual world. So, like, is the Catastrophe Nightmare still free? And if that's the case, then how does he have Catastrum? Like, what is freaking timey-wimey bullshit? I don't... My overanalyzing brain's going to have a seizure if I keep thinking about that. So, like, there's a possibility that the Catastrophe Nightmare is in the capsule, but at the same time, another version of it exists outside of it? I don't know how they're going to explain that. But yeah. Overall, like, we are getting ready to start. Next episode literally kind of like sets up the tone for the last 10. Next episode is going to be something to watch because they're clearly setting up something wrong with Nem. Zeke is still around somehow. I mean, he's still doing shit, though I don't know to what capacity. Agents are pointing a gun at Zero's head. So clearly, we need a better understanding what's going on there because, yes, 3 ousted Zero, but 3 is dead. So what happens then? You know, like, we got to figure out what happens there. And overall, the Punish Nightmare is going to be our, like, catalyst, right? He's going to be the first Gore Nightmare to eat shit. So that's all going to start happening. It'll set us up for the last 10 episodes. What's Nem's future? What's the deal with the Gore Nightmares? Who is our final big boss? All of that. And so much more will start happening. We'll be all set up next week, and I hope you all will join me for that one. It was very much a damn good time that we had here on the show. I want to thank everybody for coming out once again to another installment of the Kamen Rider ZEZTZ-udan. This show has always been a pleasure and a joy to do with y'all. So when Zero walked in his office, he walked on over to yes. Well, technically he shouldn't because he needs to read and you don't want footprints on it. But he definitely he could have, just to spite him. But I don't think I genuinely don't think he would have done that because he needs to read it. Maybe after he reads everything he would step on it. Quite possibly. So yeah, I genuinely think that I genuinely think he wouldn't do that. Besides, Zero's a more respectable person. He's not treacherous, so I feel like there would be at least a little bit more respect there. Yeah. So even though the guy did oust him, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a scene where he just stomps on a piece of paper. I wouldn't be surprised though. You saw the thumbnail image? What do you mean? Like, it's the same thumbnail I use for everything. Anyway, guys. That's going to do it for us here at the Kamen Rider ZEZTZ-udan. I will begrudgingly be back tomorrow for the Space Sheriff ZEZTZ-udan. I'm not looking forward to it, but I don't know. Maybe they can turn it around in the last 5 episodes. The eternal optimistic in me wants to think, but bro, I feel like I'm going to be disappointed. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow for that. If not, I will see you all next week for another episode of the Kamen Rider ZEZTZ-udan. To my Twitch people, I'm going to send you over to my boy Rakadao, who's playing some Dead by Daylight. Don't know why it says Fortnite on his thing. When 3 was in his office with paper on the floor, did he? Hold on, let me see. Was he standing on a piece of paper? Hold on, I need to see this. What was he? Kinda. He wasn't directly standing on anything, but you can make the argument that, yeah, he's kind of hovering over it, but, like, an edge of his right foot is on one of the sheets of paper. So, yeah, like, it definitely looks like he made it a point to not step on the paper. But, like, yeah, it definitely looks like he's not. But anyway, to my Twitch peoples, I'm going to send you to my boy Rakadao. Treat him in that cool Henshin Core way that you do. But to all my peoples on YouTube and Twitch, thank you so much for another edition of the Kamen Rider ZEZTZ-udan. And I will see you all tomorrow for the Space Sheriff ZEZTZ-udan, or next week for another edition of the Kamen Rider ZEZTZ-udan. Until then, I am your host with the most, your mercenary with the kicks, coming to you from 2286, call sign Henshin, reminding you that the future is yours and yours alone to conquer. So conquer it by any means necessary. I love y'all. Take it easy. Remember, you are valid. You are visible. You are one of us. So remember, stay sexy, stay safe, but more importantly, stay fucking awesome. And I will see you all next time. Peace out.